Certainty is the need which can make beautiful relationship, which is absolutely important for it, but at the same time, it can completely destroy it, kill it, or actually even prevent it from happening. And today, in today's episode of Decoded, we are going to talk about the certainty as a human need, which each of us have, but which also is the reason why sometimes in relationships we are very happy and sometimes very unhappy and sometimes we just cannot have it at all. So I am Lucia Wolf Klapacova, a relationship expert and author of the book Courageous Women, so far in Slovak language, but coming to the translation to English and then worldwide in a while, I hope very soon. And this is episode of Decoded. Decoded is the series in which we talk about the important people, important thinkers and experts and their quotes and what they think about relationships and life. And we decode it with one single purpose. And that purpose is to learn how to make great relationship, how to create a great love and great relationships. Because my core belief and what stands behind all this is that love and great relationship isn't luck. It's a skill and it's learnable. And that's what we do here. So with all that said, let's go to the topic of today. And I have prepared some picture and also some notes. So let me just go to it so I can actually see it all in here. All right. So why certainty? Why I decided to speak about that? What is that actually about? Where it came from? I will tell you, one of my great teachers is Tony Robbins. I suppose you know the name of Anthony Robbins, the one with whom actually coaching, as we know it, mentoring started. The, practical psychologist number one in the world, one could say, really. And also his cooperation with another dearest teacher of mine, which is Chloe, or who is Chloe Madanes. Chloe is the lady Argentinian American psychiatrist, therapist, and the person who has written plenty of books, who taught so many people, experts and new therapists all around the world. Very successful person in this. Lady whom Tony Robbins chose to be his teacher, to be his partner in his effort to actually take his ideas, take his own methods to the world, mostly to the world of the experts, because Tony himself is amazing phenomenon, but he didn't have the proper education, a proper degree in psychology or therapy or these kind of sciences. He's self-learned, and that's why he needed someone who will go through his methods, his ideas, which worked in practice. But the expert world was kind of looking at like, hey, what is this? Who is that person? And so he searched for someone who had amazing background, amazing credential, theoretical and practical, and who could just review his work and give him, opinion and maybe help to bring it among expert public, but also among the public. And this is how the Robbins Madanes training, the education school for mentors, for coaches, started to exist when the Tony Robbins and Chloe Madanes started to cooperate. And this is also one of my educational background, very strong educational background. I'm very helpful. Very thankful to both of them. Sorry for this kind of, review, but I think it is really very important to understand. And Tony created the idea, the method, of the six or theory of 6 human needs, and with Chloe's backing, they are practicing it, teaching it, and of course he's using that with all his intervention that he's doing. So what is 6 human needs, and how the certainty we are going to talk about actually is connected to it? There are different theories about human needs. There's nothing new because we know them. People for centuries were trying to find out what are the needs, what we really need to thrive. And maybe the most famous was the chart, kind of like the triangle chart of Abraham Maslow, which put on the lower levels the needs for something like the food and security, and kind of like the intellectual or emotional needs, which is like, at the kind of like the top of that triangle. But Tony created the kind of like the new one. I always, when I explain that, I call it like like there is old kind of like the car model, and this is the Porsche, like the newest model, let's say. It doesn't mean that the old ones are not valid. Of course, they are in certain, depends on what we are searching for, of course. But this one is kind of like the newest, I would say. Or maybe there are new ones, but this is the one which he is using, and it's very, very helpful to understand, because he based this on the practical work with millions of people around the world. So what this theory really says? This theory really says that every single person in life and in the relationship, and the relationship will be what is interesting for us, but so far, I want to give you a little general understanding before I move to the relationship side. So Tony says that each human being on earth, everyone, completely everyone, has these 6 human needs, and those are certainty, uncertainty, significance, love and connection, growth, and contribution. Okay, so those are basic human needs of every single person. Of course, they can have a different idea of what that means to us. But also what he says is that those first ones are needs. Wait, here maybe. Okay, those first ones, 1, 2, 3, 4, are needs for survival. These are the needs without which we would not live. Whereas the other 2, growth and contribution, are, we can live without them, but they are needs of fulfilled life. If we do not grow and if we do not contribute, then we just don't have fulfilled life. But without certainty, uncertainty, significance, loving connection, we just can't live. And in our series, we will go one by one into more detail, and we are going to explain more detail what those human needs are, mostly from the perspective of the relationships, because we all have these needs in our normal life, but also in the relationships. And here is the magic of the beautiful, fulfilled, great love and relationships. And that is that we are able to fulfill all those needs for us, but in the quality way. But at the same time, we are able to keep fulfilling all those needs also for the partner inside of the relationship. And he is doing the same for us. So if we reach the state of our lives where we are able to have the quality way how to fulfill all those needs in our life for ourselves, but at the same time in the relationship, then there is no way and no reason why this relationship should ever stop existing. And that is why I find it absolutely fascinating, because if someone comes to me and say, hey, Lucy, how am I supposed to save my relationship? I say, hey, come on, let's see how those needs look like. Of course, I have more methods, my own methods, which I'm using, but I do use the method of Tony, of his 6 human needs, with the way how Chloe Madanes is, explaining it. She's created a test for it as well. So I found them absolutely important and crucial for understanding ourselves and for understanding why we are able to create a relationship, why this relationship doesn't work anymore, and why actually it doesn't even come to the existence. So, gentlemen, it is for you too, but mostly ladies, please just listen up right now, because we are going to talk about something which is absolutely crucial. So we will now focus on certainty, okay? And I will stop my screening now. Maybe if I hide this beautiful brush tool, which I am absolutely in love with. All right, so what is the need of certainty in the relationship? First, let's say what it is in our life and what is in relationship. Wait, I have a look at my notes if I didn't forget anything. I keep talking about that all the time, so I could, speak about that like in the middle of the night. But just let's go step by step, okay? All right, so the main idea is that every human being can find a way to fulfill these needs. But the people, us, we do that in the quality way or neutral way, or way which is not really the quality, which is kind of like, serving us in a short term, but hurting us in a long term. So in a life, for example, certainty, what it means, it means for everyone, it can mean something else. And that's the beautiful part of that. Certainty or security can have totally different meaning to each of us. And what we need is to search for the meaning, but also to search for the way how we are actually fulfilling that now, how we are having that in our life right now. All right, so examples. Certainty or security can mean, okay, I have a place where I go to sleep. So I have a roof over my head. It can mean I have money in a bank. It can mean I have a husband or wife. I have a relationship, or I have great health, or I am educated, so I have degrees, so I can find a work, or I keep educating myself. Or it can mean job, or it can mean business. It really depends. For one person to have a secure job is sense of certainty, and he is looking for someone who is businessman, like this very uncertain. Or at the same side, like someone who is businessman can look at someone who is employed as like, hey, this is very, very uncertain, because business is something which creates certainty. So this is not fixed. It is the idea which we have. It is based on our own beliefs about what does create certainty. Because in the end, and this is what I always keep saying to my clients, in the really end, the certainty still is an illusion, mostly in the relationship. Certainty, like complete certainty, is illusion. It is a decision, it is a belief. It is something we decide that particular thing or behavior thus create a certainty for us. So we have the feeling certain, feeling secure, because in the end, what we are searching for is the feeling. And everything that we have is just a mean for us to give us that feeling. And this is so important to understand, because it creates so much, more freedom in our lives. It can free us from the needs that we have, or we think that we have. Anyway, let's go back to it. So what can be a quality or neutral or non-quality way to fulfill that need? For example, let's start with non-quality way. Non-quality way is you need certainty. And a certainty for you, security is food, but you don't have money, so you go to steal, And you're stealing that, and you are certain that you're good at it. You're certain that you know where to go. There are stores, there are shops. So you go, and this is the way how you are getting that. Does that fulfill your need for security, certainty? Yeah, for a while, definitely. Is that long term kind of like sustainable? Probably not. Also, we can try, for example, to many people get their certainty by being kind of like the mean to the others. They try to control others. Like they need to have this feeling they're always right, because that makes them certain. Or they need to have higher position. They just go. And again, short term, it can be fine, but long term, it can be very hurtful. We can get the feeling of certainty also from alcohol, let's say, or drugs, or sugar, because we know for certain it is there. It is there for us. So if we don't feel well, we come to it, and we certainly know, our coffee in a way, and that's the same thing. There's not so much coffee in it, but still, caffeine. Try the healthier stuff. That's what they say. Mushrooms. Anyway, so those are the ways. Or gun. If someone has a gun and points at you, he has control. He has certainty. He is in control. This is the way he fulfills his need for certainty. Again, is it sustainable? Probably not. Does it fill that need right now? Yeah. Neutral way is just like, let's say, something which you do, but doesn't kind of like thrill you, but it does give you what you need. For example, a regular job to which you go, you are not kind of like excited about that, but you do it. Like, let's say, I don't know, when we were students and we were having summer jobs, I might not be so thrilled about being a waitress, but I did it because I knew it is the way how I will get different things. So I was certain that if I have this job, if I have this money coming, then I can fulfill the other dreams. And that brought me also not only certainty, but also this thrill and change and all the kind of things. Because very often one behavior doesn't only fulfill one needs, but more needs. more about that later, because what Tony says and Chloe says is that the three needs filled by certain behavior are enough for us to feel actually addicted to it. So we cannot stop. So, and the quality way how to fulfill the need of certainty or security, of course, is just having the work which actually also give you joy, or maybe not the work itself, but the result result of that work gives you joy. It can be keeping your health, so you can be more certain. You go for your morning run or ice bath or regular checkup to doctor. I don't know, whatever we do, which brings us kind of this feeling of certainty. Like regular going to doctor is quite good example as well of that. Just go there and you are certain, what's going on in your body. So those are kind of like very positive and long-term sustainable ways how to sustain yourself, how to keep that need in a positive way. So that's how it is. And now how it is in the relationship. And finally, with all this introduction, we are coming to the most important part of that all. So let's decode what the need of certainty actually means in the relationship, and how it can build it, but how it also can destroy it. And also in the end, I will give you some tasks or like tips of what you can do to find out where you stand and how can you use this need for improving your relationship right away, like today, like immediately today. Okay, so let's say that there is a couple. Okay, first we'll talk about couple, and then we'll speak about single woman. Yeah, that's what I'm interested in couples, men, women. That's my expertise. This is what I really want to deal with mostly. All right, so we have a couple, and how the couple can fulfill their need for certainty in the relationship. So in a quality way, or neutral quality way, it would be something like we have our diaries, let's say, and we plan together. So we know what will happen. So beautiful way how to do that is just like, every Sunday or Friday or, whenever, each day or every week, twice a week, once in 2 weeks. Yeah. You just sit down with your partner and you have a calendar and you just write down what's going to happen and you plan together. It's like absolutely beautiful, normal, and very positive and very long-term sustainable quality way how to fulfill relationship of that are need of security, certainty in the relationship. Many relationships do not have it. They come to me, they don't have this tool. When we introduce that tool, immediately that feeling, I can feel secure in this relationship, goes up. Another example of the quality way is, to know that when you call your partner calls you back. Or they picks up the phone. This is really important. When you call your partner, the partner picks up the phone, or if cannot immediately, send you a message like, I'll call you later, or simply calls you later. And this is most at the beginning of the relationship, very tricky, because we are, kind of like, we don't have that certainty yet. And we are impatient, ladies of today's world. Hey, is there one which is not that patient? Maybe as it should be. So we cannot like really even wait. We cannot even wait, like how that man actually behaves. Does he call back when he doesn't call immediately or doesn't pick up immediately? And does he call back like in 5 minutes or 1 hour or 3 days? So this kind of communication in a way, like, I need to know that he calls back. This is very painful for women if they don't have it. Gentlemen, if you're listening, please take that into account. Like, it does not kill you to at least send a message, hey, I call you later, or I cannot now, or then actually do it, because huge pain comes in the relationship if you do not have this feeling of certainty, of security, of this way. I can reach my partner. It's predictable. I know when he is going to be back, when he is going to answer, or at least that he is going to answer. If you don't have that, it creates very big emotional hell. Again, emotions are ours. That's not a topic. It's not that partner creates that and we create our emotions. Still, the trigger is there and the uncertainty is there. So like, it is very painful. So like, a good way how to operate in the relationship and to give to our partner certainty, security, and also to have it for us is just, communication. But again, there are levels of that. Some women, maybe men too, they want to have it always, kind of like they have even like the location of the partner on their phone and they have everything shared and they just like always call. That's, kind of too much. So we also need to know what is the level that we need, because then the same need for certainty will be turning from the quality one to the non-quality one, from something that builds the relationships to something that kills that, and I see it so many times. So one of the very important thing in the relationship when we are building that is kind of like come to terms with our partner about what our need for that level of certainty in the relationship is, how it should be materialized for us and for the partner, and where can we really meet and have an agreement about that. Because if we do not have agreement about that, the relationship will never work. It will be just painful, emotions will just go up and down. And I mentioned just like one of the things, because there are a million other things, like the certainty that the partner pays the bill. One, we agreed about that, the certainty that they go to, store and fill the fridge, that they will go to pick up the child from the childcare, that they will be there for us when we need it, that will stand behind us when that's that is important for us. When we, for example, for sick, we can rely on them or whatever. So like there are many, 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 many ways how we can fulfill the need of the relationship, need of certainty in the relationship. But the problem in there is if the partners do not have the same level of those needs, and if the partners do not communicate about them, because some of them have many more rules for certainty than the other. And very often it's women who have many rules, like many things that needs to happen in their relationship so they feel secure. But at the same time, men too sometimes have like plenty of them. So this is one of the most important source of like stability for the beautiful relationship, but at the same time, very important source for the total instability and emotional mess, which might not be even necessary. Because many times, of course, this need for certainty and security in the relationship comes from our own insecurities, which we have in our own life at the first place. So if you really want to have this balanced and the quality way how the certainty is materialized in our relationship, of course, first we need to have a look how we have it in our own life. First, we need to do our homework as the individuals, as the individual me, as individual partner, how we individually have or do not have filled our need for certainty in our lives. And here, what happens very often is that women become vulnerable when, for example, they want to have kids. And they come to the time when they might not need to, they cannot work, or pregnancy doesn't go that well. They just simply enter the time in their lives where they do need support of the partner. They do need to rely on that partner. So many times their needs for certainty, security are linked to that. Is that partner strong enough to give me what I need? And they, women, they do not tell directly. They just, guess and test and try and these kind of things. Ladies, I do encourage to have like normal, open conversation about that. We'll talk later in other episode, like how to actually do that, make that conversation. So, is it clear a little bit more now, like about what the certainty is, what the needs for that are? Okay, so first we need to look at our own life, where the certainty or security is lacking, where we could add it as individuals. And then we are looking at it at the relationship, like what we have, what we don't have, and what we need to do, and what we need to have more, and what we need to give up, and really have a communication with our partner about that, because it's very important to meet there. If you don't meet there in this need, it really will always keep creating troubles and misunderstandings without basically really reason for that. Or maybe sometimes there are reasons which need to be seen. Also, to be blind to that, it's not really clever. So that's for the relationship. But also let's talk now for the single women. Single women, here's the trouble with the certainty. I work with women who are over 28, mostly. I mean, that's my choice, because the women who come to me already have some experiences in life. That's what I want. I want them to already have some experiences in life, so we have something to work with. But when we come to the relationship, or we want to come to the relationship, we bring together our, I call it relationship signal, which in a way is kind of like the set of our experiences in life and in the relationships, of our parents' experiences in life or relationships, or ideas about relationships, our hurts and our joys, and our convictions, and how the world influenced us, how the books influenced us, how best friends influenced us. So like all these things are inside. And often, we get hurt in love. Yes, that's what happened. In love, we can get hurt. In relationships, we can get hurt. Yeah. But if we do, many women kind of start closing in, and they start to say, this is all the time I meet that, I will open to him, but first I need to know that, I don't want to repeat mistakes of the past. So first I need to know that, and the list follows of that. Then I can kind of like open heart, and so on and so on. So basically what it means in translation, women have a long list how men should be, so they feel certain around him. Like, I don't know, he should be tall, he should smell well, he should be dressed well, he should not have any open, relationships. He should kind of like all the old past relationships should be sorted out. He should be financially secure. He should be willing to invest into them. He should be, like list. And they want to have control. They want to have, women, very often we want to control. We meet someone, and from the very beginning, we want to know how it ends. I mean, at least I was a big expert in that. I mean, that was me completely. Like when I take a book, and very often before I actually read it, I have a look like how it ends, because I don't like bad ends. Like, I want happy ends. So what? I want happy ends in my books. The books I read. But life is something else. But they kind of like try to put this approach also to men and to relationships, and it never worked. It never really worked, of course, because there's one trouble. If we want to have the certainty at the beginning, we want to know how it ends. We want to know that, hey, this is the list, and I want to know, you as my potential partner, do you fill all these boxes? What is the problem? The problem is that the man in front of us might be willing to fill all these, boxes. He might be able to do that, but he's not yet ready to do that for us. Why? Why he should just give everything first and only then see what he gets, And this is where many potentially great relationships end even before they actually had a chance to start. So what we need at the beginning of the relationship is kind of like have the idea, what is that we want when it comes to the certainty and security, but we kind of need to give it up at the beginning so the relationship can actually start, and we need to kind of like take it slower and see with the time if what we need actually is in that relationship developing or not. But we shouldn't kind of like want it very, like right in front, even though we've been hurt before, even though it's so difficult to find a man to trust. That's what many women say. Even though whatever experiences we have, those are experiences of the past with the other people. But if there is a person in front of us whom we don't like, and he probably might like us, if we go hard on certainty, we might lose him. He might not come to us. He might not open to us. He probably doesn't, or he does at the beginning, but not on the level we want. Because, another example which happens very often is like, I'm fine. I don't need that. That's kind of like another type of women or another type of relationship. A beginning, like, I am fine, I'm happy, I do not really want a relationship, but then we meet someone and we are very interested in that someone, and he is in us, and kind of like, we take it off, and hey, it develops great, and then we finally see also emotional attachment. And when we see this emotional attachment being developed, we start to want this certainty. We start to want this security, kind of like, hey, but I want to know if we meet each other again. I want to know when do you call, and if it doesn't call, when he does, like, why? What happened? Explain it to me. Give me certainty so I can continue. But I want to continue even if you don't give me that certainty, but I still want it from you. And this, this also produces great emotional mess in that. So again, this is, for women who want to enter the relationship, this kind of like need for the certainty, but materialized in not really quality way, really stands in the way of actually opening and creating the quality relationship. So with all this said, please, what I want you to do as the practice for today, do kind of like the audit of where you stand. How will you know? If you are in the relationship, and it doesn't matter if you're man or woman, have a look. Just like think a little bit. Is your relationship is your relationship the place where you worry a lot, where you are a lot like at a certain level, where you kind of like don't know what's going to happen? It doesn't matter if it's marriage or you just met 3 weeks ago. Relationship, is it a place where you still kind of like don't know what will happen? You don't know what happens when you come home. You don't know whether your partner pays the bills. You don't know whether your partner calls when you call back, when you call him, or calls back when you call him. You don't know if he's gonna be there tomorrow, is it, or next week, or 6 months, or if you tell him, I don't know, you want to move to next level. How is that? Do you have more need for the certainty? So like if you feel kind of like the fear in the way where you are right now in your relationships, it means you need more certainty. So it means you need to, take pen and paper, and you need to think like, what do you really need? Then you need to kind of like, make a little chart and take like 1, 2 most important things, not everything, because everything is just too much, but like 1, 2 most important things, and go and talk to the partner about that. Do it, just do it. Or maybe if you look at your relationship, you see it's boring, it's predictable. It's kind of like, hey, it's just you look somewhere else. You search for some other fun, or maybe you are interested by or interested in other men or women. Doesn't mean you are infidel. You just go to do something about it. Kind of, it means that your relationship has too much of certainty. So it needs kind of like get rid of something, and needs to bring the second need, about which we are going to speak in the next episode of Decoded, which is challenge, change, uncertainty, variety. This is another thing that needs to be brought into play, into game, and we'll talk about that next time. But just have a look, even now already, like how can you kind of like get rid of some certainty? How can you do something differently? How can you just like stop doing what you always do and bring some change into that? This is really important. Otherwise your relationship will just die, will just not survive. All right. And if you're a single woman who wants to have the relationship, because of course not every single woman needs to or wants to have it, but if you do want and it doesn't really work out, do little kind of like the audit or the review. What really happened in the past relationship? The best, of course, is if you find someone who will help you with that. I mean, of course, I would invite you to work with me. Just come to me and we can go, through that, and just to have a look. I mean, me and my team do that all the time within our programs. But I'm just developing now programs in English. That's why I don't tell you come to me. I tell you right now, just, either write to the comment if you want help with it, or find some other expert coach who can help you kind of like decode that. You can watch this episode, or you can just, take notes from the episode, or you can just study Tony Robbins more, or Clay Madanes, or just simply find someone who will help you if you cannot do that yourself. But maybe start yourself first, because hey, I know you are very intelligent, very bright woman, and you can kind of like see the patterns, and you might find out last relationship, the one before, like, hey, maybe I was kind of like, too fast. Maybe I wanted to give all at the big, very fast, but also I wanted to take all very fast, So maybe I can kind of like slow down in that, or maybe I can speak about that, or maybe, I can give more, I can open my heart and just see what happens, Maybe I do not need to control everything right at the beginning. Maybe I can accept that, hey, not every love that we feel should kind of actually translate into the relationship, which is a very important thing I teach my clients, my ladies, and believe in. Love is unconditional, but relationships have rules. And we can be in love with many people and love them unconditionally, but they might not be at all good for us for the relationship. And does it mean like, oh, I fell in love and then I had a broken heart? All right, you might have broken heart many times, but again, what is the broken heart? Our heart has so much flexibility. Our heart can heal very fast. Our heart, and it's not only heart, of course, it's whole body, because emotions are all over the body. But let's say it's our heart, our heart is just there for us and has many, many rooms in which many, many people can live. You know, if you have 3 kids, you just don't love one, you know, you love all 3, maybe differently, but you do. So also men, you know, who are coming, the fact that he doesn't give you right away what you want might mean he's not right for the relationship, but it also might mean that, you know, he's still a good person and you just move on and move on, but kind of like slow down the grip, you know, and relax into that little and do your own inner audit. What does need of certainty and security actually means? And also, in which phase of the relationship, because it's also very, very important, you know. There is nothing wrong with what you want, but maybe the timing of when you want it, that's not what exactly right. Okay. And of course, with all that said, there are women who are waiting way too long for nothing. So there's another side, you know, those who actually should want more certainty, should want more, you know, kind of knowing what's going to happen. Yeah, because that's also like another, and that's kind of like third situation. Women staying in a relationship where they are uncertain because they don't know whether their partner actually want to continue with them. They don't know whether their partner chooses them, will, you know, kind of like count with them in life, want to marry them or want to have kids with them. They don't know. And if they're like too much time is passing, then you just go and ask. Okay, you just go and ask for what you want. You need to, otherwise your relationship will again be quietly killed by your inaction. Okay, so there can be situations when we want too much too fast, but also there are situations when we want too little in too long time, and that's also the reason how we lose and quietly kill our relationship. Okay, so this was about the need of certainty, and yeah, we could make like all the seminars on that, but I found it really important to understand. Hey, so do your task and let me know in the comments what it brought you, what it gave you, what, you know, ideas came to your head, and also maybe how it immediately affected your relationship, because what we are talking about now, it's not theory, it's practice. It's real practice, and tonight you can feel the effect if you listen. All right, see you later. And it was Lucia Wolf Klapacova, LWK, and Decoded, because love and great relationship isn't luck. It's a skill and it's learnable. And that's why we're here. See you. Ciao. And of course, subscribe to this channel. I'll be very happy to hear from you again and talk to you again. Bye.